first get the console, the monitoring file is already predefined and everything should be good to go. But I want to go through a couple steps just in case you want to change some things or do things differently. So what you need to do is go to the GC, the graphic controller, and go to the system admin page. Now you have to remember, you have this little key lock here. You need to click on it, and when you do that, it asks you for a password, and you type in Studer, all lowercase, S-T-U-D-E-R. Once that happens, this little red key appears, and then this system admin pops up here on the top, on the menu bar. Click on system admin, go to monitoring, and then slide over to edit monitor file. Okay, and then since we're going to want to monitor within the control room, we're going to go to the panel section here, this pull down, go to Vista CR control room, and then you'll see these keys here. They correlate to these keys here. And so it's labeled main 1, and this is going to be your main program out. Either it's a mono or stereo or 5.1. Right now it doesn't matter. You select main 1. You can label it what you want. And then you go to source type. And here, since we're going to want to monitor the stereo output, we're going to find the stereo output. And so here we go, channel master stereo direct outs. We select them, and we have 4 of them. Because remember, with this template that we had 4 stereo master bus outputs. So on the first one, we select it, and then you highlight it, then hit the double arrow key, and that brings it into the section or the selection here. And then we can do the same here for the second master stereo, and hit the selection key, and it brings it in there. And then we say OK. And now our main 1 and 2 for our stereo are now active, and that's how we listen to it. The same is true if we do our group buses or our aux buses. If you want to listen to them on here, again, we would just go to System Admin, Monitoring, Edit Monitor File, Panel, Vista Control Room, and then maybe aux monitor 1, mono 1. You can see it comes up here, our source type. We would then look for auxiliary output here, mono direct out. We go for 1. We select 1 aux mono 1 direct out, hit the double arrow, so on and so forth. We can do auxiliary 2. We hit the double arrow. We hit OK. And now when we hit our aux, we now can monitor the aux. Okay, so that is the selection of making sure your monitoring is set up correctly. So just to go a little bit deeper into the section here on the control room, basically you have a number of buttons here of being able to listen to whatever's in the control room. So here you have your main control room monitor. You can listen to your mains, which can be 5.1 or stereo. You also have near field capabilities, but near field is only going to be stereo. On your main, what you can do is you have a dim button, you have a mute button, and if I hold down dim and I turn the knob, I can control my dim level. So I can do a minus 10 dB for my dim, and then every time I dim, it'll go minus 10 dB. The section right next to here, if we're doing a 5.1, we could solo specific speakers in the 5.1 mix, left, center, right, surround left, surround right, and LFE. Or we can mute specific speakers in the surround. We can easily clear. If we have a couple of them selected, we just hit clear. It clears them all out. And then right above it here, we decide if we're going to listen to 5.1, or we select LR. This would listen to the left-right. We can hit mono, listen to it in mono, or LCRS. So on the 5.1, if we have a 5.1 mix and we go to left-right, it does an automatic down mix. And I'm going to hit the button here, Setup. And what that does, it automatically pulls up our down mix settings. And it defaults to ITU. Normally, you're not going to do anything in this section, but I just wanted to highlight it that this is where it is. And it does your down mix settings. And that button is dedicated right here, Setup. So it's quite nice to have right there in front of you. Right above it, you have meter monitors. So I can, whatever is on the monitor that you can now meter. And you have insert decoder, INS-DEC. This allows you to insert for a Dolby decoder, and it allows you to, across the monitoring bus, be able to select what it sounds like decoded. And so that's this whole section here. Oh, there's two more, sorry. There's a phase, where if you have a left-right, you can phase flip the channel, or you have left to right and right to left. Next to that section, you have your PFL and solo section. So you can, if I select solo, I can then solo the channels, okay? And also to solo, I select solo, hold it down, and then whatever I select now, all of these go into the solo bus. And this can be set up where it does not do anything to your master buses. It's not destructive, okay? And if I select solo again, they all come out. Right below that, I have solo in place. This is destructive. So if I hit solo here, you can see the mute lights on here all turn on. So obviously, if you're doing anything broadcast or on air, that you don't want to hit. But we have a cool little feature called live. With the live button lit, I can't mute. So it's a nice little feature. With the live button selected, I can't mute anything on air. Right below live is PFL-BC or PFL broadcast. And what this does is when I bring the fader down, I can PFL, and then once I bring it up, it automatically comes out of PFL, but I can't PFL on air, which is a nice little feature also. And then I also have CR inject or control room inject. This is used for the PFL or the solo. So I can hit PFL, and in my existing stereo or 5.1 monitors, it uses them for the PFL. I don't have to set up a dedicated speaker or monitor for my PFL. Of course I can, but this is a real simple way to just use your existing monitors to be able to listen to your PFL. You have PFL trim. I hold this down, and again I use the knob here to be able to adjust my PFL trim. And I have solo in place safe, and what that is I can't solo again. We also have a solo in place safe mode. So when you're in solo in place, you can safe some of the channels, meaning that they won't mute. And this is only in the solo in place mode. So solo in place is highlighted. You hold down solo in place and then select the channels that you want to have safe when you solo, meaning that they won't mute. And then here, I'll select solo here, and you can see that this one mutes, but these don't mute. Everything else is muting. So that's solo in place safe. Okay, so we've discussed the control room monitoring here. Now right above it, we have our source selector for monitoring. So here we can see the control room is illuminated, this button. And then whatever I select here, I will hear through the control room. So here I can hear my main 2, externals, group 1, group 2, 3, 4, auxes, etc. Whatever I select up here, it's going to come through the control room. Now, I also have a Studio A and a B. So I can select Studio A, and in Studio A, I can then feed it main 1, or main 2, or group bus 1, or group bus 2. And same is true for Studio B. I can feed Studio B whatever source I have selected in here. When I hit main, it meters whatever I have selected. So my main program out is now being metering. If I hit group 1, my group 1 is metering. Okay, and I have 8 selections here. And then above it, I got Studio A and B. I can adjust my levels for Studio A. It's highlighted. If I go to B, I now have a separate level control for Studio B. And I have on Studio A, I can select, I can have follow control room. So wherever I have my control room source, it will follow. I can do select, meaning I can have discrete and just send whatever I want into Studio A or Studio B. Or I can even send the PFL or solo bus into Studio A and Studio B. Next to it, I got Studio A and B, and these are for GPIs. These will light up. They represent either an on-air light or whatever GPI you're triggering for whatever signal, and they light up right here. I have talk back to Studio A, talk back to Studio B. And then right above it, I have my talk back level. I have my send level, so I can control the mic pre for my talkback level. And then I also have my headphone control, and the headphones are located right down here on the lower right. And then I got a USB port, so I can take files and I can bring them from another console and import them here. And then I have my on-off switch of the console.